everybody, it's Steve Olson. It's January 15th, 2017. It's almost January 16th, 2017. I'm back from just a short vacation. Some very, very kind people facilitated a wonderful 5-day getaway where I was completely taken off the grid and could not have access to any emails or anything like that. And it was a time for me to, just basically bury myself in some rest, relaxation, get my head back together after a very unbelievable December 2016 that just literally kicked WSO's ass. But at the same time, we got stronger through that process, and the good news is that all the copyright strikes have been removed against WSO. None of them were considered valid, so we're vindicated there, which is good news. We can start moving forward with a full tilt boogie in our production of YouTube videos and so forth again, and not feel like we have to hide anything that we're observing on Sechi, for example. Anyway, before I get into this interesting photograph here, image, the IR image, I wanted to thank you all for your support, your kind words, and your prayers. And I know that when I take off for a couple days, 5 to 6 days in a row, and don't put up a video, they very rarely happen with WSO, but I also haven't taken a lot of rest. And I really needed to kind of ground myself a little bit, recharge myself. But I wanted to let you know I'm going to stay to my commitment that no matter what happens, I'm going to keep broadcasting, keep trying to grow this channel, keep trying to reach out to people and help them understand this without a sense of fear, all the things that are happening in the solar system and on Earth in terms of Earth changes and so forth. And I just want to assure you, you're not alone. And I believe that we are not alone. Not only do I feel a sense of community with all the people that love WSO, but I think that we're all kind of getting smarter together and learning not to be like screaming Mimi, people that cry wolf, people. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, here's a really cool image, and I'll just kind of read the caption that goes with this from my friend. And by the way, he's a veteran that sent this, and we thank you for your service. He was a very high-ranking enlisted person, and that's all I'll say about him. 7:55 this morning, he caught a red orb for the first time while using his IR lens, and it was just, our researchers, use a lot of very crude tools. We're not, super scientists with big budgets and so forth, but he caught a refraction or a reflection, or what we would call lens flare, in the IR band of some kind of an orb that we've seen many, many times, or an orb in front of a larger orb. And this larger orb in the smaller orb is something I actually saw this summer when I was doing balloon launches this last summer in 2016. Now, as y'all probably have been hearing, that we're seeing the deeper, more intense coronal holes around the sun. And previous white papers from our physicists talk about the discharge of the sun, or the interaction of the sun with other brown dwarf stars in our neighborhood as a potential cause for this unusually high coronal hole activity, which we've documented a dramatic increase over the last couple of months, which shows that we might be coming in the proximity of some of these objects in our solar system. And so basically, they'll look at the deeper, almost black hole in the middle of the sun, and this huge coronal hole. We're just seeing these coronal hole after coronal hole, and then you can see the parallel path where we can actually see that the primary area where something is coming from, if you look again at this sun as you're in the tip of a rocket and you're flying through space, and here's Earth, and here's Mars, and and we're just basically flying behind the sun and watching everything kind of rotate around the sun. You'll see that primarily we see that we have something in this kind of vicinity over here, back in this area, that seems to cause a pretty high energy exchange with the sun, and then causes these coronal holes, which then kind of whip in front of the Earth, and you can see how these basic waves of, I want to call it, coronal hole energy that go past these various points in space, and that's what this thing is here. Don't want to get too complicated, but I just want to say that this is kind of a pattern that is an increasingly intense pattern. And when you start to put the dots together like WSO has been trying to do, and we can't do it without the subscribers, and we can't do it without the support. This takes a lot of time to research this stuff. That's why I was getting burned out. Needed to take a little break. And sorry if I worried anybody on that when I did that, but sometimes I am going to disappear for a few days. And just trust me that if anything happened to me, I have a system in place to let everybody know that something happened, okay? and that would go out to my YouTube community and to my WSO Live community immediately. So just want to rest assured, if anything does happen to me, there's a whole bunch of what we call dead man switches in place. But anyway, so just an interesting start of a pattern that we're starting to see. And what I want to try to kind of iterate with you guys is that this is an increasingly intense pattern. It's not something that we see as being like this huge bombastic event one day happening. What we really see is that this is a series of changes that are going to cause a series of different phenomena as an effect. And another one of those effects is the number of NEO approaches again. And here we are, starting with 2017, where we're starting to see things being discovered very close to us in space, lunar distances of less than 100 lunar distances from several objects in 2017, and we can just see this list getting bigger and bigger. Wayne Steiger did a full-length video on this last updated paper from our physicist that we all, she's a theoretical physicist that we work with to talk about what's happening in our solar system. And she writes here in this white paper that I'm making available through a link on my Google Drive. So basically you just click on the link below and then you can go grab a copy of this white paper for free, just because I want you to read the whole paper. But in here she talks about that there are at least 2 brown dwarfs in our binary star system or trinary star system or how many ever star systems. And really she works towards this conclusion that talks about right down here, and I'll get to the conclusion. You can read the rest of the paper yourself. It's a pretty scientific read, but it definitely shows a lot of corroborating evidence. In conclusion, astrophysics research regarding the soft X-ray background at 1/4 keV or 5 nanometer wavelength, in conjunction with Secchi images of objects in our solar system, provide evidence of the presence of not one but several brown dwarfs in our solar system. And we've been theorizing, or our physicists have been helping us to work through theoretically how that might look. And again, I want to say, do your own research, read the white paper yourself, and I'll make that available in a link below in this video. The last photograph I'll show today, and we want to get Wayne Steiger on the channel. We're going to be doing some interviews this week with Nibiru personalities, and we're going to be cranking out some contact for WSO Live. But check out this photograph. This is just compelling. One of the things I found most compelling about this is that I've seen this sun behind the sun or 2 sun phenomenon now enough over the last year to tell you that, and through the research of the artificial light source that we've detected, and you'll have to go back to look at past videos to see what this is. I really think that this is the real sun sitting back in here, and this is the artificial sun in front of it, but just adjusted somewhat so that it looks like a normal position for the sun. And the sun is just getting weaker because of these approaching brown dwarfs. And then here we see that big orb and little orb thing going on up in the sky. And I just think it's getting harder and harder for them to kind of hide it with their lensing systems. So I think we have to get ready for kind of this frog in the water slowly increasing the temperature so nobody jumps out of the pan. I'm not looking for any huge cataclysmic events other than watching the coronal holes, watching the earthquake patterns on that and the increasing earthquakes. And right now I don't think we're in, kind of the panic mode at this point, but there is a lot of interesting things going on. And so I just want to keep an eye on everything. I'll be going through all of the different subscriber photographs and putting together a more complete review of what we missed in the last couple of days. And then finally, just wanted to answer a question everybody has is, how can we most help WSO? And everybody listen, the best way you can help WSO is to go subscribe to our new website, WSO Live. And it's a paid subscription model, and the idea is that we're going to add services as we add members. So as we have more members, we're going to add more and more services to it. The next thing that we're going to be adding in addition to the special content that we've produced with, for example, Daniel and Wayne Steiger and others on the premium site, we also have pictures and all kinds of things that are already up. But we are going to continually add capabilities to this, including a forum where people are going to be able to go and post their own information or articles, and then have other people comment on them and start communities that way in a very private, secure environment. So go to WSO Live, subscribe if you haven't done it already, and anybody that I've been working with on the email fiasco, kind of where we had a bunch of stuff happen where we need to go and get a couple people reloaded back into the system. I'm getting through all those emails. We'll be back to you in the next couple of days, and I thank you for your patience. But until next time, there is one thing I wanted to share with you, the last final thought of the day before I let you go. I took a couple days off, and I needed to because I was killing myself. I have a deep suspicion that a lot of the community, sometimes maybe gets really into it or obsessed with what's going on because it's so interesting and it's so amazing and mind-blowing and life-changing and all that good stuff. But you got to take a break sometimes, guys, and sometimes you just have to go clear your head and make sure that you're taking care of and paying attention to your personal stuff. And I know I've been going through a lot of personal change too, and things are rough. When you believe the stuff that we believe, a lot of people give you a hard time, and we don't see this, want to see this, believe it. It's just that we've seen so much evidence that now, like, our eyes are opened. So, but when that happens, sometimes you can burn yourself out looking into this stuff and trying to just convince yourself or just try to make sure that you're not going crazy sometimes. But my advice to you is you got to take a break. You got to take a break from it. Go watch a movie. Go enjoy an ice cream sundae. Go drink a good cup of coffee. Whatever the thing that you like to do, do it. Enjoy life while it exists. Yeah, sure, there might be threats from external space coming towards us, but I think the real threat to the human race is that